Hello, welcome to News 12 Now. We're very glad that you're joining us here this afternoon. My name is Robin Key, and it is August 19th. Now, we have updates to many of our recent stories, so let's just get into your Texoma headlines. New this afternoon, one person has died after a crash in Durant. It happened around 7:15 this morning on North 1st Avenue, about a half mile north of Gale Farrell Drive. Durant police say that a driver had a medical stroke and hit a parked vehicle, killing the person inside. The man that had the medical episode was taken to the hospital. No names have been released. We will update you as we get more information. Also new, we now know a motorcyclist involved in a crash in Sherman has died. It happened around 9 last night on FM 1417. Sherman police say a 20-year-old man was headed east on a motorcycle and crashed into a car that was turning west. The motorcyclist died on the scene. The driver of the car was hurt, but will survive. No names have been released about this crash either. And another driver has died after a crash yesterday. DPS says 26-year-old Enrique Martinez Jr. died after being flown to the hospital. This crash happened on FM 1417 near Refuge Road in Denison. They say a pickup driven by a Denison man ran a stop sign and hit the concrete mixer truck Martinez was driving. The driver of the pickup was not hurt. And then a pursuit that spanned 3 counties ended in a head-on crash in Cook County yesterday. The pursuit started in Fannin County near Ector after law enforcement tried to pull over a pickup driver for reckless driving. The chase went nearly 50 miles down Highway 82 until they got to Oak Ridge. That's where the truck went the wrong side of the road and hit a semi head-on. The semi-truck driver was flown to the hospital with head injuries, and the driver was taken to a hospital locally with serious injuries. We've had a lot of crashes here in Texoma, so just a reminder to everybody to please be safe and to use your defensive driving technique when you go out on the road this afternoon. Now, a clear alert out of Anna, Texas. Please pay attention, particularly to the visuals if you're just listening, if you wouldn't mind looking over at your screen for just a moment, because this is 40-year-old Oscar Sanchez. He was last seen wearing a white shirt and blue jeans on Sue Ellen Street around 12:30 this morning. He's got black hair, stands at 5'9" and weighs 245 pounds, with multiple tattoos on his hands and arms. He was last seen in a gray 2020 Toyota Tacoma. The license number is on your screen. Now, if you've seen him, you are asked to call 911. A man in Frisco has been arrested for allegedly shooting at a group of teenagers who tried to pull a ding-dong ditch prank at his house. Frisco police say that 48-year-old Damon Wolf was arrested after allegedly shooting at the teens' cars as they drove away. 3 bullets hit the vehicle, but nobody was hurt. Wolf is facing charges of aggravated assault. And then more than 600 let me say that again, more than 600 pounds of black market marijuana was seized in Love County this weekend. It was found Sunday after a southern Oklahoma sheriff's task force pulled over a box truck on Interstate 35. Now, Sheriff Andy Cumberledge says that the drivers were going to Houston and were unaware of what was inside the truck. He says that they were scammed into picking up the cargo, thinking that it was a legitimate delivery, and that they are cooperating with the investigation. Now, if you're waking up without water in Bonham today, no need to worry. The city is repairing a water line north of US 82 from Center Street to Lank Bonham. The outage started last night, but it is expected to end today. Until then, the city is asking for everybody to try to conserve water. And then new Texas driver licenses and ID cards will now have a new look. Texas DPS rolled out the new design yesterday, saying that it has enhanced security features and an easier to read format. Another change, the gold Real ID star will now be black and laser engraved. They say that the new cards are harder to counterfeit. If you have an opinion about the new cards, make sure to go to the KXII Twitter X page or my Facebook account and let us know, because I have seen a lot of different driver's license designs. I think that they're all very interesting, and I've been waiting for Texas to get a new one in my lifetime, so I'm very interested. Make sure to let us know. Now, last night, the Sherman City Council discussed the best plan of action for the West Hill Cemetery cleanup efforts. they decided to reinstate an advisory board at the cemetery. This board will be made up of 5 elected members. Their job, to help address cemetery issues and bring them up to the council. This will be the first time in a while that West Hill has had an advisory board, but the council members are hopeful that this will help solve future problems.
A good mechanism for the community to have input on how they can show their love to their beloved.
Applications will soon be open to the public. For more information, see this story on our website at KXII.com. This was a big story when it first came out. People had a lot of opinions about it, so you can go and see that conversation on our Facebook page or go and read the original article, like I said, at KXII.com. Then, big news. Health officials with the state of Texas are now saying that the state measles outbreak has finally come to a close. That's a really big deal. This comes after the disease spread outward across the state from western counties in January, infecting over 700 people. Officials are still warning residents to be cautious as it is still spreading outside of Texas. However, because of all of that, again, remember with school starting, you really want to be on your game, but the outbreak is officially, according to our medical professionals, over. And then in other good news, at least in my opinion, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are coming back to Netflix. America's Sweethearts has been renewed for a 3rd season. Last season, the documentary-style show brought drama, dance, and even a pay bump for America's favorite cheerleaders. There is currently no word on a release date, but trust, we will be watching. Now, we will be right back with your regional and national news, starting off with the Texas Democrats' return and why one official was not allowed to leave the Austin Capitol building. And after that, we will bring it all back to Texoma for our community corner. So either way, don't swipe away. Welcome back. Now we're going to go over our regional and national news that you need to know. Starting with, after a 2-week standstill, Democratic lawmakers have returned to the Texas state capitol.
A quorum is present.
Most of the House Democrat caucus left the state earlier this month. Now, without them, the Republican majority could not proceed with their redistricting efforts. We have talked a lot about this recently because it has been such a big deal. The Democrats' return comes after both of their demands were met, meaning California proposed its own redistricted maps and the first special session in Texas was adjourned. Proceedings will now continue in the second special session called by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. It will tackle topics from the Hill Country floods to the crackdown of abortion pills and the elimination of the STAR test. Now, the return is not without tension. A Democratic lawmaker spent the night on the state floor after refusing a Republican demand to be placed under the watch of state enforcement law. Now, State Representative Nicole Collier settled in at her desk to spend the night in protest of the GOP demand. When Democrats returned to the Austin Capitol on Monday, House Speaker Dustin Burrows put constraints on their movements. Under Burrows' order, Democrats can only leave the House floor with written permission and must agree to be under law enforcement escort until the chamber reconvenes Wednesday. Most of the other Democrats complied with the law enforcement escort directive. Then there is a new drug that you need to know about, particularly if you are in Oklahoma. It is a substance that the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics says is 40 times stronger than fentanyl, and it is becoming a big problem within the state. Nitazines are synthetic opioids that are a black market manufactured. Often distributed in pill form, they can kill within minutes, and reversal medications like Narcan might not be effective.
Being 40 times stronger than fentanyl in some cases, you might need 40 times more Narcan, and most people are just not going to have that available.
The OBN has been finding samples of nitazines statewide, and they remind everybody to expect fentanyl and nitazines in any pills that are not prescribed by a doctor or distributed through a pharmacy. 20 states and Washington, D.C. are suing the Trump administration over conditions the Justice Department put on a federal grant money for crime victims. They say the administration is improperly withholding hundreds of millions of dollars to force states to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. The grant money helps crime victims with things like medical bills, funeral costs, counseling, and emergency shelter. The states say that if the funds are withheld, they will either have to fully cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement or scale back and shut down those programs. Then the Justice Department is set to turn over records related to Jeffrey Epstein this week. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer says that his panel should start receiving the documents on Friday. Now, this comes after the committee subpoenaed the DOJ and set an August 19th deadline. Yeah, that's today, for the records. The panel also subpoenaed 10 witnesses to testify on the case. Yesterday, former Attorney General Bill Barr appeared on Capitol Hill for his disposition. Committee Chair James Comer said that Barr testified that Epstein died by suicide and there was no foul play. Now, do not go away. We still have a lot to talk about back in Texoma land, including new leadership and options for childcare that you might not have heard of before. Do not exit out now. Welcome back to your Community Corner, where we go over everything that you need to know as a member of the Texoma community. The city of Lone Grove got a new police chief earlier this month. Chief Kenneth Engel has been in law enforcement for nearly 30 years. He started as a reserve officer for Wilson and moved his way to Ardmore, where he was hired full-time. Engel was there for 24 years before he retired as a captain. He then went to be the undersheriff for Carter County. Engel succeeds former Chief James Hicks.
I've got some big shoes to fill because Chief Hicks did a great job for Lone Grove in the time that he was here.
Chief Engel says that he's enjoyed his time in Lone Grove so far, and while he plans to carry the proactive department on, he looks forward to passing on his own knowledge to his new crew. And then firemen from the Ardmore Fire Department had a perfect afternoon Sunday, taking a moment to pose 4 pictures with a litter of kittens from a fostering family in the community. Oh, that's so cute. And then as children head back to school, you may need an after-school program to help in the afternoon. The Salvation Army of Grayson County is opening its doors on Wednesday after school for kids to come, eat dinner, get tutoring, and even enjoy some recreational time. Another option, the Boys and Girls Club in Sherman also has an after-school program, 5 days a week. The club provides homework help, computer labs, and many other activities. The Salvation Army says that finding an after-school program can be beneficial to the next generation.
It's worth the effort to let the children come out and do something like this, have a safe place, somewhere to fill their bellies, and to continue to learn throughout the day with a group of kids.
If transportation is a problem, the Salvation Army of Grayson County says that they have a bus that can help pick up children either from school or their home and bring them to the program. Then the Red River Railroad Museum is hosting a free event Thursday night. The Battle of the Tracks honors the start of the rivalry between Sherman and Denison dating back to the 1800s. Long before the Battle of the Axe, there was the Battle of the Tracks between two great railroad towns. All are welcome for the celebration and a great history lesson at 7 o'clock.
It's a classic history lesson that we have here in Denison. In fact, the Red River Railroad Museum, as this will be their third time that I have participated in here, and it's essentially a group discussion, mostly guided, about what it is that happened at that time and giving the history of what's going on, because a lot of people don't know that history.
And it just kicks off the rivalry because next Friday is the 127th Battle of the Axe game. Tickets are on sale now. Now that's it for this News 12 Now. Make sure to join us here again tomorrow, same time, same place. Now, if you just have to get more Channel 12 later this afternoon, tune in for the 4, 5, and 6 to stay updated with everything going on in Texoma land. Now, did you feel like any of our stories could use a bit of a deeper dive? Check out our website, KXII.com, for more information to all of our stories. And then also, make sure that you're following our Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and TikTok. If you're watching this and you want to watch it again, well then head over to our YouTube because this episode will be up there. We also live stream all of our episodes there. Now on all of our social media, you will find exclusive content, constant updates, and our past stories. Have you heard of Moms at Texoma? Have you heard of Talk to 12? How have you heard of Brady's Barbecue? Well, it's all over there on our social media platforms. So until tomorrow, absolutely best of luck, Texoma. We'll see you then.